We're good. Okay, we're now live. Good evening. Today is Wednesday, January 20th, 2020, the regular session of the Board of the School Trustees of the School City of East Chicago. The time is now 6:10 p.m. and the place is the School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street in East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. We also have members via live stream and also public via live stream, and you can reach that from our website, which is www.scec.k12.in.us. This is a meeting of the school board and public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Present.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Williams.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Present.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Present. Can we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll move to the business portion of the meeting.
Yes, board, I am requesting the removal of item 12 from the agenda.
Madam President, I make a motion to approve item number 12.
The removal of item number 12.
Yes. I'll second.
Trustee Williams makes a motion and Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we'll have the item number 1, approval of distribution of payrolls. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval of distribution of payroll.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes, I do, and I apologize, Superintendent, I didn't have a chance to get some of this over to her, but on page 2, items number 9 and number 10, that's actually page 1, I'm sorry, of the vendor check register. Line 9 and line 10, I'm unfamiliar with what those are. The check number is 107606 and 107607.
You're doing a payroll, Jesse?
Yes. No, I'm sorry, this is the vendor check.
Oh,
Said 9.
Yes, check number 107606 and 107607.
you're on, are you on page 9?
Page 1.
Page 1, I'm sorry.
He just outlined the check number 107606 and 607.
One 1076, what?
That's not page, the page 1 that I'm looking at of the docket.
Distribution of payroll.
Distributing of payroll.
Oh, we're talking about payroll. Okay.
No, the distribution of payrolls is not, what you'll see is the second page. So it's
Okay.
listed at page 1, but it's actually the second page.
Okay, Mr. Gomez, this is a new item added to the payroll that we were audited of not having approved by the board. And they're basically our life insurance policies, our retirement plans, and checks that we have to pay out through garnishments. So these were never added in on our actual docket. So now we have to present this to the board to be signed due to an audit that we had. So that, yes, it is something new that you haven't seen before.
Is this a recurring, line item or one time?
Some of them are a recurring line item per pay period, unless a garnishment falls off or something like that. But basically, most of these are recurring.
Those two in particular, just from, I'm not familiar with who this is associated with, but for these type of payments, they are normally recurring payments pursuant to a court order. And I believe both of those are, just from looking at the description.
I do have a couple other, there's it looks like under page 1 of the vendor check register, I'm not sure what the number this way, but it is check number 107569, and it's be on the 5th page.
She's still there?
Are we going in the docket now? Or are we still on payroll?
Payroll.
This shows as a vendor check register.
Okay. And what number was this again?
It's the 5th one down, 107569.
Oh, okay. 107569.
And there are 3 more to follow. 107, 574, 75, and 76.
So you're still on the payroll dockets, the documents?
It's, if you're looking at it on the computer, it's gonna be your page 4.
5 of 6.
Oh, 5 of 6, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. 106569. That is a garnishment. And what was the other one that you needed?
Just one more, 107574.
That is also a garnishment.
Any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have the approval of the claim docket. It was a pleasure of the board.
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions? I did have questions, and I know I sent this earlier yesterday in regards to the questions. I think there was only one that I really, when it comes to reimbursement for individuals, do they ask first if they could purchase the item and then they just get reimbursed? So for instance, you had the check number for, hold on, I'll tell you right now. Check 107592. So this is, I know how we do it for a department head, you have to actually take out something so you could show when you reimburse them. Do we do that also for us, Leela?
Yes, so this particular check right here was a state came in to do the examination that they normally do yearly. And at that time, these particular situations had to be sent in, and they wanted payment right away because they needed the rapid results from this. So yes, this was cleared.
Okay. Then check 107616.
Vanessa, you happen to have the page on that?
27 of 32.
27032, thank you. One oh seven six one six.
107,616, yes.
This is a quarterly payment. They prepare the E-rate for the district. They do all of the federal paperwork.
Okay. Good to know. 107,619.
6.
That's page 24 of 32.
24.
Correct.
This is mileage reimbursement that they get yearly, or they can do it bi-yearly.
And just a reminder, everyone receives mileage, or is it just who receives mileage?
No, everyone does not receive mileage. This particular team, this department receives reimbursement for their mileage. So between them traveling between schools, so that whole department actually receives reimbursement for their mileage. Either they can do it annually or they can do it biannually. And also anyone that goes outside of the district over 50 miles, they also, if they're going out for a conference or a meeting pertaining to the school district, they can claim the mileage.
But it has to be approved prior to.
Yes, it has to be approved. Anyone going outside of the district has to have a conference form, but this particular department does not have to have approval of going from school to school.
Got it. My last one to you is page 2732 again, and that is the 107,633.
This is a district PD training that we just started taking. It's actually being paid out of title, and this was the initial fee that we had to pay. This is for the orange fraud training.
Okay, that's what I was thinking it was, but since it said had a different name, that's why I didn't know if that was it or not.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So what, Madam President?
Yes.
So would this amount be is this the sort of the the initial cost for the grant?
To my knowledge, Joel, yes, this is initial cost. And once we finish, I do believe we have 3 more sections to finish, then we'll get the additional the follow out to the program. I am not totally guaranteed to tell you that I know the exact price of it, but I do know that we probably got 1 more payment that looks like this.
For the orange frog.
Of the orange frog, yes.
Any other questions? Cash roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we'll move to approval of personnel report. What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval of personnel report.
This makes a motion for approval.
Second,
Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Yes, on the Assistant Director Special Ed, is that a new position, or was that as a result of a vacancy, and is there a job description attached to that?
No, that is not a new position. That is a position as a result of a vacancy. And yes, there is a job description.
Trustee, did you want to see the job description? you could just send over the job description to the rest, the whole board, that'd be great.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Oh, Trustee Smith.
All of these new teachers, they're receiving professional development. Are these new hires?
The new teacher orientation is, they are teachers who are new to the district or who are new to the profession.
Okay.
Yes, so they don't necessarily have to be new this year, but they're new to the profession and new to the district.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Approval of IRS mileage rate for 2021. Is this Ms. Simmons?
Yes, this is the new rate coming in for 2021. This would be the mileage rate paid out to any employee that's doing mileage that has a conference form or a department that allows them mileage.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
I just have a question. It looks, used by the language on the last sentence here. The new rate is 56 up, the current rate is 57, or is it 58? The language is inconsistent.
Oh, yes, I did not notice that, trustee. Yes, the new rate is 56, but the old rate, I'm sorry, the old rate would have been 0.575. So I should say, instead of saying current rate, when I did this at the end of December, it would have said old rate.
Thank you.
So the new rate is 56 cents per mile.
Any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 5, approval of resolution 2021-1 to transfer amounts from education fund to operations fund. Ms. Simmons?
Yes, this is the standard resolution now that we have to do with the state. So if we make any transfer from the education fund to the operation fund, we have to have this resolution stated. So we're only allowed to transfer up to 15%. And we are actually, the last couple of years, fortunate have came in a little bit lower than 15%. So this year we're asking for the amount listed there in the resolution to be transferred if needed into the operation fund.
Madam President, I'll make a motion.
What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, Madam President. To approve.
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
I'd like to ask, what is the purpose of this transfer?
Since we no longer have just the general fund, trustee, that we basically, only thing the operation fund receive is tax payments. So a lot of our personnel now comes out of the operation fund that actually came all out of the general fund. So we have to, in some cases, if we fall short, we will have to make that transfer from the education. The education fund now only receives the state tuition.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be notified if we have to transfer, correct? Or you just
I
automatically do it?
can notify you if I have to transfer via email on which month that I transfer. Like I said, I've been staying below the 15% since we started this 2 years ago. I try not to transfer that much. Also, standing regulations of our operation fund needed to take a slowdown. And that is my goal, for us to take a slowdown in operation fund of funds going out that's unnecessary.
The funding has changed, which is totally different from when you were in the board last. So I think to go with what Leela's, what Ms. Simmons is saying, that's what we have to do for the board training, because it changed from having the 3 funds to just having the 2. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
That's for sure a board training scenario.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. What is the pleasure of the board? Or, I'm sorry, we already have. Yes. Any more other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have the approval of first reading of board policy number 6111, internal control standards and procedures. This Mr. Harris or Ms. Simmons?
I can. Leela, you want me to? Okay. This is a model policy, 6111, entitled Internal Controls, Standards and Procedures. Basically, what we did was update this policy for your consideration on first reading to address some concerns raised in, I guess, recent audits. But if you look on page 2, item or paragraph I, we included a provision that's pretty short and sweet that says to review all grant applications in accordance with the superintendent's grant application review procedures. I guess the finding that we received before just outlined the fact that we didn't have this step in place. So in addition to this policy, which would require a formal review process to occur for grant applications, it also requires that the superintendent draft and submit to you a grant application review procedures. So before this is adopted in its final form, the superintendent will also distribute to you these grant application review procedures to go along with the policy that requires those to be considered as part of the normal process. Leela, if I miss anything, let me know, but that's basically what this does. I discussed this with the superintendent too in advance, and she knows that she'll get that out to you. This is just for first reading.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, go ahead.
Motion for approval. Trustee Smith, you second the motion?
Yes.
Any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez?
if I could ask Attorney Harris, so are there 2 procedures that need to be developed? One following 6111 and another one for grants?
No. So the procedure that's described in 6111, that is our internal control standards and procedures generally. Like, that's what that is. The procedures that I'm referring to is a second set of procedures that deal solely with the grant application review process. So this policy in and of itself is intended to outline internal control standards and procedures generally, and then it cites another set of procedures that are specific to what the superintendent prepares only with respect to the grant application review process.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item number 7. I'm sorry, motion carries. Item number 7, approval of first reading of board policy number 6423 of credit cards. Mr. Harris?
This is basically the same idea. Policy 6423 is regarding the use of credit cards. We're again trying to address some concerns that were raised in prior audits regarding this is another form of internal controls, but specifically to deal with the use of credit cards. This also is being dealt with in the same way as the prior policy, in that the superintendent is developing certain guidelines with respect to the use of credit cards. This policy outlines certain things that those guidelines should include. And if you notice in the draft that's before you for consideration on first reading, it provides more specificity as to when the card would be issued, when does it have to be returned, et cetera. So it includes all those. I would imagine that the administrative guidelines that the superintendent is going to prepare may have some additional information in terms of like the sufficiency of receipts or proof of purchase. Sometimes you may end up, let's say if you get a cab, they can't necessarily give you a receipt, but they'll give you a card where they'll tell you how much it cost, or there are other things like that that might be appropriate evidence of a receipt. We'll go into more detail in the superintendent's administrative guidelines, but you don't necessarily need that level of detail in the board policy. So again, the superintendent will be developing those administrative guidelines and provide them to the board before this is adopted in its final form. Again, this is first reading too.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
I second that motion.
Trustee Williams seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Gomez.
I just want to ask Attorney Harris, how does this compare to the Neola standard, the current Neola standard?
Compared to the what? I couldn't make out exactly what you said.
The current Neola standard.
So this is the policy that you see in the board packet is the Neola policy. What they included in the standard Neola policy is what's stricken out in the paragraph above what was added. So you'll see there's 3 real short paragraphs in that policy. That's all standard Neola language. Below that, you'll see that was standard Neola language. It's stricken out because ours, it's not inconsistent with that. It just has more detail than that has. And that was as a result of a policy committee meeting that we held on this particular one.
The findings from the audits that we needed to have just a bit more internal controls.
That's correct.
Right.
Just up to date, bring you up to date. When we have our policy meetings, myself, Diane, superintendent, and Ms. Simmons, as well as our attorney, depending on what items are up, we always make sure that we have a conversation or ask Ron or Ms. Cass to update us with the newest Neola policy. We've also, I know when you were on the board back then, we were trying to find out a way to get through all the policies at one point in time because they're so behind. And we're still breaking our heads trying to work on that, but we do update as much as possible, as often as possible. So when certain things pop out at us that are important, especially those of the audit, we try to reset immediately. Again, as you remember, it's towards your school district rather than just what Neola states. So any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have approval of Sender and Company Financial Consultant Service Agreement. Superintendent Wright.
Yes, this is agreement with our financial consultants, Sender and Company. This is a renewal of a previous contract.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval. Trustee Gomez seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee
I
Gomez.
just want to be sure, this is a fixed fee, not an hourly contract, right?
I can answer that question. It is an hourly contract. It's in an amount not to exceed 75,000. Let me see if the exhibit's attached. Their rate sheet is typically attached.
I saw their hourly rate.
Yeah, so it would be pursuant to the hourly rates in Exhibit B. but there is an amount not to exceed figure. I don't know how that figure relates to last year's amount not to exceed. I assume it's the same, Leela? Yes? Yes, okay.
Yes, it's still the same. This contract is the annual contract. We actually never really get close to this amount.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Simmons, I know I go back and forth with you about this company, and I do ask, this is something that is still needed at this point in time, and you said regarding to the budget?
Yes, Center and Group is a great help to me during the budget time, since it's really time consuming, and plus I have still the department to run. So when I meet with him, we basically spend at least 2 or 3 days constantly on trying to finish the budget and make sure we get it done in a timely manner. He also assists me with working in the gateway function with the budget also.
And what is the average that we spend for this company?
On a yearly basis, the average I might do, without any hiccups of something that's going on with the state, probably about 35 to 40.
Now, if we had somebody else that was, if you had somebody else in your office that we'd be able to help with all this, would we be able to eliminate this contract?
Yes, but that would incur us to pick on another salary.
I mean, but we're spending $35,000 anyways. So, and actually we can spend up to $75,000 for them, so.
So yeah, if we put on another person, we would spend up to probably 40,000 plus the benefits. So average would be about $60,000 for another person.
Okay. I just know that, it says everywhere, we have to find cost savings and, just a thought to put out there moving forward.
Okay. That's something I can look into within this coming year.
Are there any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to approval of grant management software contract. Superintendent,
Yes,
or-
this contract is for our grant management software. We discussed grant management, I believe, this summer. We have several grants that are worth millions, and we have a difficult time keeping track of all the requirements for this grant. So we're asking that the board approve this grant management program, and this grant management program will help us keep more accurate records of our various grants.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for grant management.
Trustee Smith makes a motion for approval.
Second motion?
Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion seconds the motion. Are there any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
What the bottom line number on this? I have a few questions on this one. Is that 21,000 for this?
So
Actually, go ahead, Leland.
go ahead, Andy.
Okay, it's $21,000 for the program itself, but there's a fee of there's another $88,000 implementation fee, and this implementation fee is one time. And once we pay the implementation fee, we will not have to pay this again.
What was the price of the implementation fee again?
$88,000.
$88,000.
I guess I have a few other questions. One is, so who's the end user for this here in School City?
Can you repeat that, Jesse?
Who's the end user? Is this Leland that's going to be using this?
Well, actually, we're in the process of hiring a grant manager. And once we hire a grant manager, the grant manager will oversee this program.
So is there only one person that's going to get trained?
No, I believe Leland and a few other people will be trained on this program. Also, this is being paid out of our IT funds as well, our technology funds.
Question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so, as I was reading this, the 88,000 one, first off, brings, red flag for me. And then we're paying this 21,000 afterwards for it. So what happens if we don't receive grants and it basically doesn't pay for itself? So for instance, if we didn't get the amount of grants that we received this year, we paid 88,000 for a program that we don't actually need, I guess.
The $88,000 is a one-time fee, Vanessa. We don't have to, once we pay that, we don't have to pay that again. As far as the grants that we've received over $2 million worth of grants. So, and we are constantly applying for new grants. So we just want to make sure that when we apply for these grants, we have a system in place where we can monitor these grants effectively. So this is not a one-time shot and we just have these grants and we're not going to apply for more. We're going to continue to apply for grants, but we just need an effective way in order to monitor these grants.
Question for you, Ms. Simmons, were you involved in this process to make this grants management program?
Yes, me and several people from Title, also several people from Special Ed. We all met, and the IT team, we all met with each one of our vendors. We had 3 vendors to come in for quotes, and we basically gave them a detail of what we were looking for. And this company came out the best, and actually it came out the lowest in price of compared to some of the other companies. So yes, I was in the process of from the start to the end on this one.
The program Salesforce at one point in time was used in the school system many, many, many years ago. And there used to be a lot of hiccups with putting in information for monies and et cetera. And I know it was a lot of when they needed to contact somebody from the company, they wouldn't contact us back immediately. And I just don't know with the agreement, if they're able to, if we call them, are they gonna reach out to us in enough time for things? Because I remember there always being an issue with getting in contact with Salesforce when we had to implement the checks, and because that's what we used to use. I don't remember how long ago, but it used to be used here in the school system.
Well, I had the head of IT and also the head of data systems on these calls, and they never informed me that Salesforce was used within our district before. Maybe the name was associated with another program, but between the two of them, they never indicated that we had a problem with them. Now, this here system will not be cutting any checks. This will only be tracking the usage of grants.
You're 100% correct. I apologize. I'm confusing my, when I worked for Ransford, and this is what it was. But that was our biggest problem, where they would not reach back out to us when we needed some type of information. It would take a long time for them to just kind of tell us how to get through it, or it would take a day, we would shut down. And so that's my biggest concern. Mind you, I guess you don't have to have this information immediately, but that's my concern with that. Also, I want to make sure that Salesforce is compatible with the systems that we use in our district.
Yes, Salesforce is compatible. Again, I had the head of IT and the head of data analyst with me when making this decision. Now, as far as reaching out for help, we haven't experienced anything because we haven't implemented this system. But the contact that I have had with the Coastal Cloud and actual Salesforce has been great. any questions that we have, they have responded to. Actually, I'm waiting on respond, and I might have got it. I haven't checked my emails from one part of Coastal. So I have not had an issue with them responding, but again, we have not implemented this system yet. So we're basically we're going in head first on this one.
Any other questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
I want to follow that up with the question of who's currently performing this function and what does that mean for them? Are we losing a position, or I kind of want to get the history of what we're doing currently and why we're making this next move.
So Jesse, right now, currently, we don't have anyone who's working these, managing these grants. Will be Ms. Goods, Leela, George, any of our district administrators that grant specifically deals with. So we don't have like one clearinghouse person to work those grants. So it's kind of like piecemealed out.
So how it has been is basically you could go for a grant, I can go for a grant, he can go for a grant, and then we just kind of handle it ourselves, or right? That's what you're trying to probably get to.
Yes.
I don't know if handling ourselves is the proper terminology. I believe it's happening in the sense where whichever department applied for that grant, they're also working with Mrs. Good, the assistant superintendent, as well as Lena to manage that grant. Is that the same?
I think it now
Yeah.
it is. At
Yes.
one point, it was not like
Right,
that.
right. But that's
Yes.
that's what we're getting to.
Correct.
This is the reason why this software is going to be very important to us, because
Right.
now we get great to take care of it, and this will also help us manage it as well.
Correct. I just don't want it to be that the people who are actually applying, let's say they are teachers or principals or something, that they lose the control of being able to use their grant for certain things and programs that they have already put in their grant. With that being said, are they also going to be trained with the grant management program to know what's actually in there or not?
So the purpose of this grant, I'm sorry, Ms. D. The purpose of this is that just what you just said, Vanessa, is that we have teachers, we have principals, we have everybody going out for grants. And I don't hear about it until either I receive some money in my bank account or somebody asks me for a printout of what the grant has been used on. So the purpose of really this program is to put all our grants in one spot. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to manage what they spend on it. I'm actually trying to manage to make sure that they spend the money down and also that they don't overspend, which is now going to cause me to spend money out either the education fund or the operation fund. That's basically the whole purpose of getting this software.
May I say something? Wasn't this brought up in the findings of internal affairs with the audit because we didn't have anything in place?
Our internal audits basically came across with the titles and the special ed that we have a tendency of not having all of our basically everything in one spot.
Correct.
And that has been a big thing. So with us having it all in one spot now, we can give them the paperwork. We know where the paperwork is at, and it will be with the grant management person, and they'll be able to give all the information to them.
I have one more question, Superintendent Wright, because I'm hearing that there's multiple people who are going to be over handling grants, correct? So
no,
I mean,
Fine.
so just then we have a grant management system. So then, with that being said, I know you said you wanted to have a grant management position, but would we need that if we have the money, the finances are going to be taken care of, and then the actual grants are going to be managed, you said, through Ms. Goods, through, so what would be the purpose of having a grant manager if we have this?
because we're going to need someone to oversee all the grants that's going into this system and to make sure that it's managed well. Because someone has to put in the information and then manage it.
I have two questions.
Go ahead, Trustee Rodriguez.
Okay. Now, this particular system, would it give us a report? You know how sometimes the board would ask for data within a certain grant, and sometimes we don't get it, but this would actually give us that report, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And my second question is title involved in this as well? Since
No.
it's also considered a grant, or no?
The titles, from my understanding, title grants will not go into this grant management program. Correct me if I'm wrong, Leela, but I don't think so.
All grants,
All grants. Oh, okay.
title, special ed, foundation, gear grant, any grant that we have in the district goes into this program.
So I guess then my question would be is, have we discussed, I know there's several title grants. I think there's one that may even focus on probably equipment or systems. Is that something that we can use as well as possibly pulling some of those dollars to help with this cost? If they're going to be part of it, is what I'm saying.
Yes, there is possible ways that I can split it up between title, IT, and also special ed, since all of them are going to be associated with it. The reason why Ms. Wright said that we're going to do the IT because their funds are available right now to do that, including they have a large sum coming in within the next couple months. So I can do it out of all three, but at this time I had chose to do it out of IT.
Sorry. Any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, item number 10, motion carries. Item number 10, approval of SCEC school counseling consulting agreement. Superintendent.
Yes, this is what we call the Ssca contract. Ssca stands for American School Counselor Association. So our counselors in the school city of East Chicago become members of this national-wide association. And the purpose of this membership is to more effectively help our kids thrive and get the skills and the programs that they need to become more successful citizens.
Pleasure of the board.
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez moves for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee
Yeah.
Gomez.
this may be for Attorney Harris. On page 2, it says, it is further agreed that the school city of East Chicago will pay an additional $500 if this agreement is signed fewer than 14 days prior to the initial delivery of the services. And this shows that the training will took place on January 15th.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I emailed back and forth with the superintendent about this a little bit. I don't believe that 500 is still in play. I don't know that there was any delay in us following up with them. But I'll let the superintendent speak to that.
No, I don't believe that there was any also. And this is also being paid out of the Lilly grant. So Ms. Pohl is the one that oversees this. And from my understanding, everything is fine.
Yeah, just to answer Trustee Gomez's question, the impression I got was that Ms. Pohl was in direct communication with them and put their concerns at ease that this would be brought up at the next board meeting and that she didn't anticipate there being any hiccups with it. So I think that's why that 500 isn't in play.
Thank you.
Yep.
May I ask one question? Why was it submitted so late? And it was given December 14th. 2020.
It was given December 14th. I think we had a board meeting December 16th. The first board meeting in January was simply for the selection of officers.
Okay,
And then the January 11th board meeting was just a return to learn. So they have, the check has already been sent. They just want the check. They just want the check. It's not the $500. They just want the check. That's it.
Any other questions? Ms. Cash, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Item number 11, approval of student/parent athletic handbook 2020-2021 school year. Superintendent.
Yes, I'm asking for approval of the athletic handbook that was given to me a couple weeks ago. So I know we're a little late, but I'm asking for approval of that handbook.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
I'll second that motion.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
Yes, on page 5, it says the athletic department, paragraph 1, reserves the right to amend and alter rules and regulations. That comes with board approval.
Can you repeat that again, Jesse? I didn't hear that.
Paragraph 1, the end of paragraph 1 says the athletic department reserves the right to amend and alter rules and regulations in this handbook. That comes with board approval, correct?
Yes,
They can't just alter it on their own.
right, correct.
And then I do have one other item, and I think this is on page 7. It's just a typo, I believe, but it shows the school year as 2019-2020.
Hmm.
That's on page 8.
Okay.
Go ahead, Trustee Smith.
I'm sorry. Maybe I missed something and maybe I wasn't able to understand Trustee Gomez, but should there be a parent waiver as to not holding us liable for any, like for the COVID or anything? Maybe I'm missing it because I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. But the athletes, you know.
I know for a fact that we do have waivers when you sign up to be an athlete. Physical form is probably about a 4-page document that gives your physical information, but then on the other parts, it gives a waiver of in regards to injury, et cetera. And this year they updated it by adding COVID-related language. I think Trustee Williams could also speak to that from when he was Assistant Athletic Director. He sees the same document.
Thank you.
And then I know I did want to mention about COVID-related items because there has been 2 times where we changed the grade point average, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So the first time it went before us for board approval. The second time it has not gone before us for board approval, so we need to have that to be board approved. If we're saying that it's because of the fact that board approval has to be done. Also, any other COVID language, I don't know, Attorney Harris, like the setting of the games, should that be in there also so students and parents could know that, you know, there might not be a crowd or you might not be able to have parents in the building. What are your thoughts on that for the handbook?
So I think that it is something that should come before the board. However, sometimes there could be some COVID-related issues that are, they need an immediate response that you can't necessarily get before the board at the next meeting. So I think there is a balancing act that needs to be done, that you do need your athletic department and or superintendent to be able to have some discretion in that area, but generally speaking, you don't want it to be inconsistent with your overall position on, on COVID. So I think that's something that you just have to take case by case. We have no precedent when it comes to dealing with COVID, obviously. This is the first time for everyone. But I do think we need to make our best effort at if we can and have enough time, get it in front of the board, because to have a discussion involving that takes everyone's perspective into account, and you end up with a better result that way. Just practically speaking, it doesn't always necessarily work out that way. So timing is a big factor too.
So I do, we had an issue a couple weeks ago, I think it was. So I did contact Mr. Harris, and we talked about it, and he advised me on how best to handle that particular issue.
Okay.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, but I understand, I guess I just want to make sure that we mention something in regards to COVID related. So because it's, like you said, this is a time where things change very quickly, and just so we could let people know, because of the fact that I think we might be talking about the same situation where things are able to change at the top. If we find out that someone had COVID within athletics that morning, but we're still keeping a game happening, but we're not gonna allow people to come in the building, I understand that, where you're not gonna, where you're gonna change it at that quick point. But then I think there should be some language that says that things can happen within the day, or can change, anything COVID related can change the look of what the attendance could be, or the look of the play, or whatever. That's just my thought. And maybe discuss with Ms. Maxwell.
So Vanessa, I believe I'm correct, but we did have our COVID athletic plan approved this summer. Monica did a presentation to the board, and then it was presented to the board, the COVID athletic plan.
So maybe revert to the COVID athletic plan.
Yes.
Or COVID related situations or
Mhm.
issues, revert to the COVID athletic. I mean, I think that would work too.
Mhm.
So people could understand, because I understand how our fans are, and if we cancel people coming into play right before whatever, you're gonna have a lot of upset individuals. So that's my reasoning for saying that. Are there any other questions? Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, item number 13, the approval of use of Washington parking lot.
Yes. Approval of Washington Mobile Mart, once again, has partnered with us to provide food to the community. They do a drive-up food giveaway that took place today at Washington from 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. I drove past there, and there were a lot of cards. So I'm happy with this partnership, because they always contact me to help out the community. So I'm asking for approval of Washington parking lot.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
Second.
Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
Not a question, but I want to share this with the superintendent that that feeling is mutual. I was actually volunteering there today, and LaShonda told me to pass on my thanks to you on behalf of the food bank for allowing them to use it. They said they had a very good relationship with the school district, so thank you.
You're welcome.
My only concern is with the traffic. I'm happy that so many people come. We have the same thing at our food drives when we have them at the Park and Recreation Department. Whoever at that company or the mobile market, if you could tell them to make sure to contact the police when they're gonna have it, because just because of the traffic on the streets. Because if not, the school city's gonna get the call, or trustees might get that call from the police, like, what are you guys doing? What's going on? And I don't want them to make it seem like we didn't tell them. So just for them to have a heads up.
Okay, no problem.
Any other questions? Ms. Castro, call please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Next, motion carries. Next, we'll have the approval of donations to the district. Superintendent Wright.
Yes, as you all know, EPA and Parsons has left Kerry Gosh, and they left some furniture for us, and also Tevis Grant and his church are donating 300 book bags. So I'm requesting approval of these donations.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, I make a motion for approval of donation.
Trustee Williams makes a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Any questions?
Madam President,
Trustee Williams.
on behalf of Tavis Grant in the book bag donation, that is my church, and Bishop Grant is my pastor, and he did make clear to us that the book bag donation, that it will be more to come for our students in our district too. So he wanted to say thank you to Ms. Wright and the school board, as well as our district, at receiving those items.
Awesome, thank you.
So we're going to take the book bags and we're going to divide them up equally amongst all the schools, and we're going to distribute those book bags to our kids. Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry. Any other questions? Ms. Castro, call please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes. Motion carries. Next, we'll move to approval of the 2021 winter snow removal contract. Simmons, or Superintendent, right?
Yes, so there was a committee that worked on the school bid approval, and they followed all procedures, all rules. So I'm asking for approval of the snow bid recommendation.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Madam President, move for approval.
Trustee Gomez makes a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Trustee Rodriguez seconds the motion. Are there any questions? Ms. Castro, call please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
trustee Gomez,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes, motion carries. Next, we will have Superintendent's remarks.
Yes, I'm pleased to announce that we had approximately 20 teachers and administrators that attended a STEM conference last Thursday. As you all know, we're on our way to becoming a STEM district. Those participants were highly interested in this professional development. So kudos to our teachers and our administrators that attended this PD last Thursday.
Next, we will have trustee remarks. Are there any trustee remarks?
Madam President.
Trustee Gomez.
I just have a couple of remarks. A couple years ago, I had a discussion, maybe a debate, with my mom actually, about civics in the classroom, and she took the position that civics needs to be reintroduced to public schools. And given what happened on January 6th, it seems to me that whatever we're doing here in the school district, we ought to amplify our efforts to teach civics to our kids, because obviously some people failed that class or missed it altogether. And I think it's a noble effort. I don't know where the state of Indiana is at on that right now, but I just want to put that out there. I also want to thank the teachers for, for all they've done during this time of COVID. Hopefully things get better soon. And on that note of teachers, we know this job as a school board is not an easy one. So I wanted to ask if we could send a letter of congratulations to Frank Forrest, one of our teachers who's a newly elected school board member in Hope. That's it.
Thank you. I did want to make mention to a couple of things. First, I know at our last meeting in regards to our committees, which is the Finance and the Policy Committee, I forgot to name the trustees. For the Policy Committee, we would like to stay with myself and Diane on the Policy Committee, and she's also our delegate down at the state. She actually, I reminded her we had to sign up, and she did it, so she's probably gonna be at the State House come early February. Also for our Finance Committee, we have our Trustee Williams and Trustee Rodriguez at this point. And I, along with Trustee Gomez, would like to make sure to show our appreciation for not only our staff, but the parents and the children through COVID. Yeah, we're going into this next semester, and it is it's just difficult all in all. And we just thank you for just trying your best, giving your best effort, and see you and we hear you and we thank you for just doing the best that you can. Any other trustee remarks?
Madam President?
Trustee Williams.
Yes, on Sunday, there was a caravan within our community or our district. I just want to say thank you for our teachers that returned back to school on Tuesday. We know that this is a very tough time for you as teachers. It's a very tough time for our students. It's a very tough time for this administration and a very tough time for our district and community as well. On behalf of our board, I want you guys to know that we are entrusting the education of our students in your hand, whether it's virtually, whether it's in person, whether we're doing it collectively. We want you to know that we have your back and we support our betterment of our school district and our students.
Next, we will move on to public forum. Mr. Harris.
Yes. If anyone has signed up virtually or in person to speak, please state your name and address. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Please be assured that the staff is taking notes concerning any comments or concerns that you're making today. While it's not a question and answer session, if you do have questions, someone will follow up with you. We would only ask that you not discuss individual personnel issues, and please be respectful of the trustees, the superintendent, and the staff that's in attendance.
First up will be to speak is Patty Gibson King. Your 3 minutes to start.
Excuse me.
Hello, I want to say Happy New Year's to everybody. And congratulations, Vanessa and Jesse Gomez. I've just presented 3 of your school board members a letter from the community. And please excuse me, it hasn't been typed up as of yet, but it will be. And it is for the purpose of in-person school board meetings, community meetings, superintendent's evaluation, and then
I'm sorry, excuse me.
We lost them.
Yeah, I don't have any sound on my side.
Me either.
Same here.
Either. I'm sorry if I'm coughing, I'm sorry.
We'll give it a second. If not, we may have to have the vice president adjourn this meeting.
I think their connection froze.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.
You have to make a motion.
Let's see.
For real, Joe?
I'm gonna see if I can't get a hold of them.
Okay.
On this.
Maybe on speaker.
Yeah, you can't be coughing now, Miss Diane, while you're adjourning the meeting.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get up. I have to go get some water.
Oh, don't leave.
I've had that cough too today. Just saying. I've had that cough too today.
I know, it's just, I don't need to catch anything, I promise you.
They know that they're frozen and they're working on the connection. They said if we could sit tight for just a couple minutes.
No, meeting adjourned.
Because we're live on Facebook too.
This is the
Start video at the bottom. We should be good now.
There you go.
Now we good?
Okay, I want to make sure, am I being heard?
You are being heard.
Yes.
I really
Now
don't
you
know.
are.
You are being
Yep,
heard.
the microphone's on there.
Okay, so I am being heard.
Now.
Okay, so I'm gonna read it. It's understanding the school board meetings are on Zoom and the reason is COVID-19. It has been brought to the community's attention, the administration building,
The mic closer.
the administration building at 1401 East Chicago, Indiana is open 5 days a week for the administration staff to report to work. Also, the administration building is open twice out of each month for the community to attend a Zoom meeting with no school board trustees present. January the 4th, all East Chicago teachers have a choice to return to work at school or continue to work from home. January the 19th, 2021, it is mandatory that all teachers report to work. We, the parents, guardians, and community is requesting on February of 2021, all school board trustees be present for in-person school board meetings within the, with social distance. We are also requesting a community meeting. In our opinion, there should be 5 separate meetings held on 5 Saturdays at Central High School where social distance is possible. Purpose of the meeting, parents and guardians, community to be educated on e-learning and etc. and how to contact teachers for questions with help for their children's schoolwork. Staff is required, teachers, what is being done to make the school staff safe, COVID-19, and the superintendent's evaluation. What is the progress? Will there be community input? And when will the evaluation be completed? All of the above was discussed with 2 school board members December the 5th, 2020. And it is our understanding School City of East Chicago is going to begin using the Northwest Evaluation Association, a testing tool to measure academic progress for grades K through 8. Is NEWA testing being utilized or on a consistent basis? If so, what are the scores? And this is hand delivered, which is today's date. We are requesting a written response within 5 days from your school board members. And one more thing to Mr. Jewel Harris, we did request the Freedom of Information Act was given to Rhonda. There were several things written out that we're requesting as well too. So we are still awaiting on those documents to be present. Thank you and take care.
Madam President, I believe the rest of the public comments will be virtual or online. So I'm not sure if we have John Novak online.
Once they call, they'll put them on there. Just a reminder that it is a delay for them.
Staff is required.
What just happened?
But we're trying to make sure, what's the, you said no,
Joel Novak will be up first.
Are we sending them through, guys?
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Okay, they're, and
All right, Mr. Novak, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Your time starts now.
Okay. Hi, I just introduced myself. My name is Joel Novak. I'm a registered nurse here in Chicago. Just like to say that I had worked at a safety net hospital on the west side of the city since before the start of this pandemic and throughout. Not to say that makes me an authority or anything like that. But I have seen my share of things, my share of cases, and what this virus can do to patients and their families. It was brought to my attention that by friends I have that work as teachers within the district, that they have been asked to report back to school for in-person instruction, along with the students next month, I believe. I'm just wondering what the process was leading up to making this decision, how much parent involvement was involved, how much instructor involvement was involved, what considerations of the positivity rate were taken into account in the city and the surrounding areas. We all know of the devastating and frankly racist impact that this virus has had, especially on working class families. So I think it's incumbent on the school board and the district to be very transparent and evidence-based on how they're unfolding this plan and bringing it forward, and have a plan to, halt the forward progress if needed, should cases be see themselves rising and students and families and workers be put in danger. There is, as I'm sure all of you are aware, in the city of Chicago, there is a lot of pushback against Chicago's district in resuming in-person instruction. And I think although some of the evidence suggests that younger students are less likely to develop some of the more debilitating effects of the virus, they are still very capable of spreading it on to more vulnerable members of their family and their community. So with this in mind, we need to be ready that we're not introducing more racist and racist danger towards working class educational workers and working class students in this city and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next will be Mrs. Christina Williams, and following Miss Christina Williams would be Gabrielle Brinston Campbell, just so you can kind of get yourself. So up next will be Miss Christina Williams. Yeah. Also, while you logging on to get ready to speak, please make sure that you turn your live stream off so you won't get any feedback.
We can't hear you.
You can hear me? I can't hear anything. Can you hear her?
no.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
I can see you now.
There we go. Always playing around with Zoom. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Christina Williams, East Chicago. Just a couple of things that I just wanted to share this evening. So imagine being forced back into a building at the resurging of the COVID-19 pandemic, and there are not enough cleaning supplies, and many of the buildings are not conducive to proper air circulation. Teachers nor students should be left defenseless from the threat of this global pandemic. There's something that can be done, and it starts by listening and trusting the voices of these teachers, parents, students, and healthcare workers. The voices that grow increasingly louder as teachers are being forced back into buildings that are not safe. With America seeing over 400,000 deaths, we're like at 400,300, nearly 95 in the state and close to 100 in the city of East Chicago alone, the pandemic is mutating and becoming more contagious. There's still so much uncertainty surrounding COVID, and it's important to focus on improving the quality of virtual learning and getting the buildings prepared for adequate social distancing. Yet somehow teachers are feeling as though they must choose their life or their career, a decision that no person should have to make. Teachers more than deserve. They have earned the authority to choose the environment that is safest for them and their families. They deserve to have leadership that properly preps and plans for their return to school. They deserve to have a voice in what is needed for their students. They deserve autonomy in deciding whether to teach from home or from the classroom. So I hope that this evening you all will reconsider the mandate to have teachers in buildings that are currently not up to par, because at some point we have to make a decision on when teachers and students matter more than data and scores. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next would be Mrs. Gabrielle Princeton Campbell. And to follow Mrs. Princeton would be Ray Castaneda. Once again, if you're logging in to speak, please make sure that your YouTube live feed is turned off so you won't have any feedback.
Hello, may you hear me?
We can hear you, Ms. Princeton, and your time starts now.
Greetings. The days after finding that we were being forced to return to the building while our scholars are remaining home has been difficult mentally and physically. At the beginning of the school year, against my better judgment, with no choice of my own, I was faced with a decision that left my scholars at a loss. You know what that means. They missed out on so much, and that hurts. Fast forward to the second semester, I'm faced again with choosing the life and health of my family and myself for my career. This year has been the most difficult of my 11-year career, not because of my students, not because of my personal life, but because of the decisions being made for me by administration without carefully considering the other stakeholders' ideas, thoughts, and opinions on the matters at hand. I miss the traditional interactions and delivery of education as a whole. My scholars, my colleagues, my own children and their interactions. However, I would prefer this over dying. I know I have to choose between the possibility of death and my career that I love. My students have already suffered a great deal. I work diligently to provide engaging instruction on a daily basis and to make up for their loss. I have 3 small children. I have done what was required to keep us safe to date. Yesterday, my scholars were without a teacher or a substitute because I had to spend my day getting my worsening health condition taken care of and getting the COVID test for my family per the daycare's request, because that's the only way she'll care for them. So my children miss school as well, but it's about normalcy for students though. This is my personal situation, and the above mentioned is important to me and my dear scholars, and they've already missed a lot. Feedback from administration regarding the return to an empty classroom appears to be student-centered. However, I call it an insult to my intelligence. I'm not going to waste my time to tell you how, because we all know. Instead, I will end emphasizing what is student-centered, keeping my scholars at home and safe, making sure they have licensed educators and professionals, assuring that the teachers and families are safe and not unnecessarily exposed, assuring that the teachers are not being killed because they are unnecessarily exposed, and assuring that when we, the teachers and the students, return to the building, that we have proper PPE in abundance and a fully functioning custodial staff. Perhaps if this plus so much more is done, then we can be like corporate America and we can be orange.
Up next will be Mr. Ray Castaneda, and follow Mr. Castaneda will be Guadalupe Ramirez. Once again, if you're logging in to speak, please make sure that you turn your live feed off so you won't have any feedback. Thank you. Can you hear me, Mr. Castaneda?
Yes, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Your time starts now.
Okay, I just want to say that I have a handicapped son that goes to Harrison School, and he has a shunt in his head that goes to his stomach. And if he was to get sick, we can't just take him to any hospital up here. We have to drive him down to Indianapolis. And you know, maybe y'all should start listening to these teachers and these parents, and you know, postpone them going back to school this school year. You know, it's just a lot of people are dying and getting sick from this pandemic, and you know, a lot of people are afraid to come out and send their kids to school or go to work. You know, that's basically what I have to say about that. You know, just start listening to these teachers and parents. If they don't want to go to school and risk their lives and stuff, and you know, you guys should enforce them. And another subject that I wanted to bring up was that at the last school board meeting, I spoke about that check that money that I raised for the girls soccer team. You guys still failed to contact me. I had one person, I ain't gonna say, one person has contacted me, and I was kind of mad because when I talked to that person, she lied about a conversation that we had on multiple occasions. So about that school board meeting, and she told me that she didn't remember none of the conversations, and that made me very mad because I know that she lied about it, because that's the only conversations that we had. You know, I've been getting bashed by people on the school board. I've been getting bashed by people in the athletic department over there at Central about how I stole the money that I raised, about how I'm a gang member, a drug dealer. That's how the money came up. You know, I looked into filing a lawsuit, but I'm not going to do that, because if I file a lawsuit against the school board, then that's taking money away from the kids. You know, there's a lot of messed up people. I ain't gonna say a lot, but you know, Copeland's got some of his puppets right here on the school board, and you know, this is no place to play politics. Being in a school board, and you know, just you know, something's got to change, and I still got this money that you guys have not accepted for some reason. I think you guys should look into your athletic department and find out why some people are bashing me in the athletic department, calling me a murderer and a drug dealer and a gang member, and just because that some of them people are your friends with some of the people on the school board, that's why you guys don't want to accept the money from me. And this money was raised.
I appreciate the comment, and you will be hearing back from someone on the board. Thank you, sir. Up next will be Guadalupe Ramirez, and following Guadalupe Ramirez will be Stephen Flores. So you on deck, Stephen Flores.
Is this me? Do you hear me?
We can hear you, Mrs. Guadalupe, right?
Yes, this is Guadalupe Ramirez.
All right.
I want to tell, pardon?
The time starts now.
Thank you. I want to tell you about my husband. Just before working for SCEC, he worked for School City of Hammond. In his time there, he founded the Social Justice Club. He organized 2 freedom schools for students and arranged for guest speakers from University of Chicago, Howard, and Stanford Design School. He invited 2 young women, a Latina student from Southern Illinois and a Black student from Williams, to share their advice on excelling in high school and getting through college without any debt. He arranged trips to Chicago's Hairpin Art Gallery, college tours, and visits to the theater. He did this of his own initiative and with no compensation. His commitment and love for his students is inspiring. He's also a brilliant and reflective scholar. He's completed his master's degree in special education, but apart from that, has been invited to share his research on teaching in urban communities at national conferences, including the ASA conference in Cuba. He participates in seminars and workshops through University of Illinois at Chicago, rethinking schools, decolonizing the curriculum in order to improve his craft. He loves East Chicago. I remember being sick to death of hearing about how great his kids were and his coworkers and the community. I watched him beam at the 16th of September parade, and I remember thinking, he's found his home. He agonizes over lessons, spends hours speaking to students and parents in preparation of IEPs. Ask those who have sat in his meetings. He is excellent. He also falls into 2 of the highest risk categories for complication and death due to COVID-19. We got into so many fights in the beginning of the year about returning to school once there were students in the building. As I shared with you before, my daughters and I have already suffered great loss when Jaime Salazar, my late husband, died in 2013. We cannot risk another loss of that magnitude. My husband is an amazing teacher who's so incredibly committed to his kids. He's been teaching online while using his sick days. My husband has serious health concerns. He should not have to choose between his life and his livelihood. That's my husband's story. But the truth is, every one of your teachers, clerks, and paras can probably find dozens of people to make the same sort of testimony. They are dedicated educators. Moreover, they are human beings who deserve to be heard, acknowledged, respected, and valued. Just because they don't have comorbidities doesn't guarantee that they won't be among those who die, or among the much higher percentage that suffer long-term illness. Your teachers' lives are valuable. They have families and students who love them. Please protect them. Do the right thing. They can be great from home. Give them that chance.
Thank you. Up next will be Mr. Stephen Flores, and following Mr. Flores will be Clarissa Jones. I again ask if you're logging on to speak, please turn your live feed off so you won't get any feedback. Thank you. Mr. Flores, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. Your 3 minutes begins now.
Today I called off for the 2nd day in a row. Today I taught while off for the 2nd day in a row. I taught while off because I knew my students would otherwise just get an e-learning assignment. The issue with an e-learning assignment without a teacher delivering instruction is that it results in unengaged students, missing assignments, and poor educational outcomes for our students. If student achievement was really a priority, how is an e-learning assignment without instruction preferable to a teacher who can deliver quality instruction from home? It saddens me that this time of contention with School City of East Chicago coincides with my time working with great building administration. My current administration and his predecessor, as well as my coworkers, go out of their way to offer encouragement and knowledge. I do not want any of my comments to be taken as disparaging against any of my current immediate supervisors. Teachers have been begging for their voices to be heard and have been met with disrespect at best. A more appropriate word is probably contempt. There is a pandemic. None of the reasons teachers were given, room to spread out, students seeing the classroom in the background, an easier division between work and home life, are first of all based on any real research, and even if it were, aren't reasons to risk one's life. As a teacher that is being forced to make a decision to risk his life and everyone I care about or collect a paycheck to pay my bills, I feel completely disregarded and undervalued. In my opinion, the decision to force teachers into empty classrooms shows a complete and total lack of respect for teachers. We've seen several teachers leave the district as a result. I love my school. colleagues, and building administration, I thought I found my forever school. I find it very difficult to teach in this community where I feel myself and colleagues are constantly disrespected. If you really care about student achievement, I would really consider investing in teachers, meaning at bare minimum, a level of respect that doesn't endanger our lives, our families, our coworkers, our students, and our community. My colleagues are beautiful. My students are amazing, so smart, so resilient, just so full of potential. The decision to put anyone back in the building when people are dying of a yet to be fully understood virus puts us all at risk. There are no guarantees. Teens die from this too. What kind of husband, stepfather, teacher would I be if I didn't rage against the endangerment of my life, my coworkers' lives, my kids' lives, and those of the community? I think a large part of why I was hired was because I said I am passionate about justice and I am passionate about my kids. Remember why you hired me. Do the right thing here. There does come a point when mourning a cardinal where it's too late to change your mind.
Thank you. Up next would be Clarissa Jones. Following Ms. Clarissa Jones will be Mike Loblino. Mike Loblino will be on deck after Clarissa Jones. Can you hear me, Mrs. Jones?
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right. So hi, I am a teacher here in East Chicago. This is my first year. I absolutely love my job. I love these kids. I love giving them just a high quality education. And that is what I strive for every day on Zoom. I know it's e-learning, but I strive to give them the best high quality education that they can receive. And I just feel like making us go into the building and risking our lives and basically saying, you know, we have a choice between our families and school and our job. I just think we should receive an option. I know that we were talking about, you know, the internet issues. And I believe that if these teachers are having internet issues, they should have a choice whether to go into the building. We need high quality teachers here. We need to do better as a district so that we receive a better rating. In not allowing these teachers to choose is pushing them away, and pushing high quality teachers away is just going to make the education, it's not going to be good for our district. We need high quality teachers. We need teachers who care. These students need it more than anything. And without these teachers, we have nothing. Without these teachers, we do not have students that are receive a high quality education. It is so important in East Chicago that these students get a high quality education. And without these teachers, they will not. They will leave and you will be without them. We need to be able to make a decision for ourselves to stay home and stay safe. And being able to have the option to go into the building is a great thing, especially, you know, for people that need it, that people that don't and that have, you know, a lot of health issues. We need to be able to keep them home so that next year you will have them again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Up next will be Mike. I'm gonna spell this last name. I want to say I got it right. It's Columbo. Follow, Mike will be Helen Steinbeck. So Mrs. Steinbeck, you will be on deck.
I'm here. Hello? Sure, I'm starting my video. Oh, sorry. Totally dark. I apologize. What's that?
Sounds good. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We can hear you, sir. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay. I guess I was made aware that you guys are attempting to open up the schools back up and bring your students back. I just work in St. Catherine's hospital, and I'm just kind of cautious against it. We have a lot of very full units with very, very, very sick people, and that's with our best intentions and best precautions. I just have a really hard time believing that you can have you're going to be able to maintain all the precautions necessary to do effective instructions. You know, if kids come back. That's it.
Alrighty. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Up next will be Helen Steinbeck. Following
we can be able to maintain all the precautions necessary to do effective instructions.
Once again, if you're logging on to speak, please turn your live feed off so you won't get any feedback. Helen Steinbeck, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you, ma'am, and your time begins now.
Thank you. Good evening. Let me start off by saying administration has tried to offer some reassurances that the ASHRAE guidelines for returning to in-person work and learning are being followed. However, I, as the president of the Teachers Union, am not willing to risk the safety of our teachers and staff on just the word of our superintendent. I'm calling on you to ask, as I have, to see the records. You may have approved the payment of the bills, but is the work being done? Do we have a safe workplace? Do you know that everything has been done to protect us? Have the filters been changed in every building? Do we have fresh air circulation in every building? Are the custodians cleaning surfaces during the day while we are there working? What proof do we have? And secondly, at the last board meeting, you were told there would be another review of medical documentation. Today is 6 business days since that meeting. There are 4 teachers that I know of who are utilizing their sick days because their medical provider has stated it is not safe for them to work in the school building, and they have no response from HR. We have no students. Why can't they work from home while this process takes place? Why don't we have a choice? Safety for all, whatever it takes. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellie K will be up next, and following Ellie K will be Barbara Barones. Yes, Barones. Barbara Barones will be on deck.
Hello, can you all hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Is it, am I too soon?
No, we can hear
Okay.
you. You can speak. Your 3 minutes will start now.
Perfect. I'm sorry, I'm coming from another call and still on the road. I apologize. So I wanted to say that I had the pleasure of taking part in an amazing action over the weekend, the car caravan around the city of East Chicago, which I saw family members that we passed, passed a lot of places that folks were talking about. You know, they haven't been in a while and they miss it. And the reason that they're not going there is because they want to live. They would rather live than go to these many places that were fun, that was a ball to go to. And even so, as we were driving through these neighborhoods, we had signs on our cars. Somebody had a bullhorn and they were letting people know why we were driving. People came out from where they were, whether it be came out of their houses, came out of particularly the post office, and stopped and waved and were yelling at us supportively. They weren't yelling anything bad. They were yelling supportively at us. And as we had conversations with people, that was something that we wanted to do too, is talk to people who we interact with anyway. As I had conversations with people, they absolutely understood what was happening. They absolutely understood that the lives of the community, because that's who these teachers, that's who these kids, that's who these families are going to interact with as soon as they came out of these schools. They're going to interact with people in the community. They're going to interact with me. It's been a long time since I've been in school. They're going to interact with people, and people are going to be in danger from COVID-19. These shots don't mean anything. In case people haven't been reading, people are getting these vaccines, and although they have been mandated as safe, there are people that are having bad reactions to them. I know 2 people today that just got their second shot. They in bed right now, temperatures out the roof, hoping that they're one of the ones who survive it. And I'm sure they will be. But we don't need any additional hazards. So many of us are not eligible to get that vaccine until months from now. In the meantime, we don't need these kids, we don't need these teachers, we don't need these administrators in danger. We could be using this time to come up with ideas for enhancing the education of these kids from home. If kids need to be in school because their parents need something, have to have them somewhere, then at least it's not going to be a whole school. At least kids can be, some kids, not all, God, not all. A few kids can be masked and somewhere with their education because they need to be supervised. But a whole school absolutely does not need to be filled, not even a portion of that. It can't, our lives are more important. Our lives are more important. Please think about that.
I'm sorry, your time is up now, ma'am.
No problem. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. I'm sorry.
Up next will be Barbara Baronis. And following Baronis will be Alexander Watkins. She will be on deck. Alexander Watkins will be on deck. No problem. Are we here, Mrs. Barbara Baronis?
I'm trying to get in.
You're there. We see you.
You see me?
Yes.
You as well.
Okay. Hi, Happy New Year. First, I'd like to thank the board members that are there in the building for attending the board meeting there in public. Thank you so much. That means a lot to us teachers that are asked to go into the buildings. I'd like to ask if we could please reconsider having the Wednesdays off for e-learning, or it's not be Wednesdays, it can be Fridays. I know my parents appreciated having the day to get their students caught up. I know the teachers appreciated having the time. There's not enough time in the day to get packets ready, to get lessons uploaded, to get contact parents, to, call students and help them. So if we could please look into getting our e-learning day back for the teachers and the staff and the families, I think it would be greatly appreciated. I know that was a huge, huge help. And I know I did tell Mrs. Wright, I really, really appreciated it. It was great having that day to get things done. So I hope that we can get that day back. And I know my teachers feel the same way. So if we could consider that, I would greatly appreciate it. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next will be Alexander Watkins. And following Alexander Watkins will be Katie Badger. Alexander Watkins will be up next, and Katie Badger will be on deck. You will be the next person. Can you hear us, Alexandria Watkins?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, 1 second.
Your 3 minutes will start now, ma'am.
Okay, good evening. First, I want to ask why this meeting is mostly being held over Zoom instead of in person. Is there another hidden danger besides the global pandemic that School City of East Chicago teachers and staff are better equipped to handle than the board? With that being asked, are you aware of the 2 teachers in Munster who tested positive for COVID-19 their first week back? I cannot believe your willingness to throw teachers and staff into a deadly situation that you yourselves are abstaining from. What you're telling us as School City of East Chicago employees is that not only are our positions expendable, but so are our lives. There is only one responsible and obvious choice to make for the School City of East Chicago family, and it's both literally and figuratively life. Please do not continue to fail us. Allow us to work from home.
Thank you. Up next will be Katie Badger. Katie Badger. Katie Badger.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Ms. Badger, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Good evening. This is my second year teaching in East Chicago. I adore my staff. I adore my families. They have been so patient with me through e-learning. I couldn't thank them enough. There's been many good points of conversation here tonight, and I think they've more than sufficiently gotten the teachers' thoughts and feelings across. So instead, I simply ask you as a board to trust us.
Yes, Ms. Badger, we can hear you.
Wonderful. Good evening. This is my second year teaching in East Chicago. I adore my staff. I adore my families. They've been so patient with me through e-learning. I couldn't thank them enough.
Is it lagging?
There's been many good points of conversation here tonight, and I think they've more than sufficiently gotten the teachers' thoughts and feelings across. So instead, I simply
Just need to mute the live stream.
Yes.
Yeah, you can mute that. You won't get that feedback.
Wonderful. Good evening. This is my second year teaching in East Chicago. I adore my staff. I adore my families. They've been patient with me through e-learning. I couldn't thank them enough.
Is it lagging?
There's been many good points of conversation here tonight, and I think they've more than sufficiently gotten the teachers' thoughts and feelings across. So instead, I simply
Yes. You can mute that. You won't get that feedback.
Good evening. This is my second year.
Excuse me, Ms. Badger, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yes, Yeah, if you can turn that live feed off. That way you won't get that feedback or even mute that live feed.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay. Is that better?
Yes, you can resume.
Okay, thank you. So where was I? So instead I asked you to trust us. Back in March, we had to completely turn the way that we taught upside down without warning. We were all still scared. We had no idea what COVID was back then. And yet we still came together as a district to give our students a quality education. We mastered Zoom and Google. We found ways to collaborate despite being miles apart, and we remain cardinal strong and a support system for our students and families. All will continue to be safe at home. And I just don't believe that we need to be back in unsafe buildings, risking our lives to continue to be there for our students. I work with a wonderful staff. I work with an amazing team, and I know that regardless of where we are, we will continue to be there for our students. We don't need to be put into unsafe situations in order to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam President, that will be all for public forum, yes.
Okay, I know we have not approved the schedule for our meetings, but currently we're gonna follow the first Monday, third Wednesday. And the next meeting will then be on February 1st, 2020, and it will be at 6 p.m. Can I please have a motion for adjournment? 2021. Trustee Gomez makes a motion for adjournment.
Madam President, I'm for adjournment.
Trustee Smith makes a second the motion. Ms. Cass, roll call, please.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Hernandez Orange.
Yes.